The trailer for Outlander Season 8 has shocked fans everywhere because it teases the return of Faith Fraser, the daughter Claire and Jamie lost long ago. Faith's appearance is not only surprising, but also deeply emotional because she was never meant to grow up, yet the trailer suggests she may return in some mysterious form. What does this mean for Claire, Jamie, and the entire Fraser family? Could her presence be supernatural, a vision, or even a twist in time travel? Today we break down everything you need to know about the mystery of Faith and why her return could change the entire story of Outlander. Before we can understand why Faith's possible return is such a big deal, we have to look back at the events that led us here. In Season 7, the Frasers went through heartbreak, war, and danger once again. Claire and Jamie faced the chaos of the American Revolution, while Brianna and Roger were dealing with the challenges of raising their children in a world torn between past and future. The family was split by both distance and time, but their love for each other kept them moving forward. The trailer for Season 8 shows that the stakes are higher than ever. And in the middle of this chaos, the name Faith suddenly reappears for those who may have forgotten. Faith Fraser was Claire and Jamie's firstborn daughter. She was born in Paris during Season 2, a time when Claire and Jamie were trying to stop the Jacobite Rising. Sadly, Faith did not survive. Claire almost died during childbirth, and her loss was one of the most heartbreaking moments in the entire series. Faith's death left deep scars on both Claire and Jamie. It changed how they saw their lives and how they carried their grief. It was a moment that shaped the rest of their journey together. Faith's memory lived on in Claire's heart, but she was never truly spoken of again in great detail. That is why the possibility of her return now is so shocking. The trailer shows hints of something strange, something that makes Claire's face shift from shock to sorrow. Fans have pointed out that some of the visuals hint at a figure who looks older, someone who could be Faith if she had lived. This is what makes the trailer so powerful. Outlander has always been about the mix of love, time, and destiny, and Faith's mystery seems to bring all three together in a way we have never seen before. If Faith is somehow back, either through visions or time travel, it could completely change the story for Claire and Jamie. Faith was not just a lost child. She represented hope, family, and the future that Claire and Jamie dreamed of when they were young. Losing her was like losing a piece of themselves. That pain shaped their choices for years to come. To imagine her returning now, even in a dream, or vision, forces both the characters and the audience to face that grief once more. Outlander has never shied away from emotional storytelling, and this mystery could be one of the most powerful yet. The question now is simple but haunting. Why would the writers and producers bring Faith back into the story after so many years? Is it only to remind Claire of her past? Or is Faith now a key to the future? Outlander Season 8 is the final season, and every detail has meaning. Faith's name is not brought up lightly. It suggests that her presence will play a role in how the Frasers' story finally ends. The Season 8 trailer does not waste a second in pulling us back into the world of the Frasers. The very first shots are filled with tension and mystery. See Claire standing in a dimly lit room, her eyes wide as if she has just heard or seen something impossible. The camera lingers on her face, letting us feel her shock before cutting away too quickly for answers. This single moment has already made fans speculate that Claire is seeing someone she never expected, and that someone might be Faith. Another powerful sequence shows Jamie in the middle of a battlefield. Smoke rises all around him, and for a split second, he seems distracted by something that has nothing to do with war. His gaze follows a figure in the distance, blurred and glowing in the light. The editing is clever, because the trailer never shows the figure clearly, but the choice of framing and music makes it feel like Jamie is looking at a ghost or a vision. Fans immediately connected this to Faith, because Outlander has used dreamlike visions before to show us things that exist beyond normal time. The trailer also shows quick cuts of Brianna holding her daughter, Jemmy standing beside Roger, and the family preparing for an uncertain future. But tucked between these family scenes is a haunting image. Claire is sitting by herself at night, holding something close to her chest. The expression on her face is not just sadness, but recognition, as though she is remembering or even meeting someone long lost. This moment adds fuel to the theory that Faith is returning, not as a living character in the present timeline, but as a presence that haunts or guides her family. What makes the trailer truly unique is the atmosphere. The lighting is darker, the music heavier, and every shot seems to carry a sense of finality. It feels less like the beginning of a season and more like the start of a goodbye. Faith's name being whispered or hinted at in this kind of setting tells us that her story will not be a small side note. It is positioned to be at the center of the Frasers' final journey. The trailer seems to promise that the past, present, and future will collide in Season 8, and Faith's mystery is the thread tying them together. One shot that fans cannot stop talking about is a young girl walking through the woods. The trailer never shows her face clearly, but her dress and hair are styled in a way that feels out of time, almost ghost-like. Many believe this is Faith, shown as she might have been if she had grown up. Others think she is a symbol, a vision sent to Claire as a message. Outlander is known for its symbolic storytelling, so this girl could represent more than one idea at once. She could be both Faith and the future that was lost, reminding Claire and Jamie of everything they sacrificed. The power of the trailer lies in what it chooses not to reveal. By giving us just enough to question but never enough to confirm it, creates suspense that will last until the season premiere. Faith's presence, whether real or imagined, is now the most talked about mystery. The trailer has transformed a character we thought we had said goodbye to the beating heart of the story once again. The biggest question raised by the trailer is simple, yet impossible to ignore. How can Faith return when she never survived? Infancy. Outlander has never been afraid of bending time, history, and even fate. And that makes Faith's mystery one of the most fascinating storylines the show has ever teased. The trailer does not give a clear answer, but it gives us enough to build three powerful theories that could explain her sudden reappearance. The first theory is the supernatural vision. Outlander has a long history of blending spiritual elements with its time travel themes. Characters have seen ghosts before, from Jamie's vision of Claire before they even met. Two moments where death seemed to pull characters into another world. If Faith appears to Claire or Jamie, it may not be as a living child, but as a spirit, a guide from beyond. Her role could be to remind Claire of the life she once lost and to prepare her for the choices she must make in the final season. This would not only be emotional, but also tie Faith to the larger theme of destiny that has followed the Frasers from the very beginning. The second theory is even more daring. Time travel ripple. What if Faith's death was never fixed in every version of history? We know from the books and the show that time can be rewritten in small, subtle ways, even if major events tend to resist change. Perhaps in another timeline, Faith survived, and that timeline is bleeding into Claire's world now. The trailer's hints of a grown girl in the woods could be showing us this alternate Faith, if true. This would not only shock fans, but also expand the Outlander universe by proving that different paths of time can overlap. It would mean that Season 8 is not only about endings, but also about possibilities. The lives the Frasers could have lived if fate had been kinder. The third theory is symbolic storytelling. Outlander often uses characters and visions as metaphors for deeper emotional truths. Faith could return not as a ghost or as a time traveler, but as a symbol of Claire's grief and resilience. In the trailer, Claire's expressions shift from sorrow to determination, as though she is finally ready to face the pain of losing her daughter. Faith appearing in visions may not be about her being alive, but about Claire finally confronting her grief. By seeing Faith again, Claire may be able to let go of years of hidden sorrow and find peace. Before the final chapter of her story, all three theories are powerful in their own ways. And what makes Faith's mystery so unique is that Outlander could easily weave all of them together. She could be a vision born of grief, a spirit guiding her parents, and at the same time, a window into what might have been. The series thrives on complexity, and Faith's return may serve as a bridge between past and future, between life and death. between memory and possibility. In the end, the true explanation may be less about how Faith appears and more about why she appears now. Season 8 is the end of the journey, and for Claire and Jamie, no ending would be complete without confronting the loss that defined so much of their story. Faith's presence is not just about mystery. It is about closure, healing, and the reminder that love, even when broken by time and fate, never truly disappears. Faith's return, whether through vision, spirit, or alternate timeline, will not just be a dramatic twist for the story. It will dig directly into the hearts of the Fraser family, forcing each of them to face emotions they have carried for years. For Claire, Jamie, and Brianna, Faith's presence could change everything about how they see themselves and their future. For Claire, Faith has always been the wound that never healed. She carried the memory of her first daughter in silence, rarely speaking of her, but the weight of that loss shaped every choice she made as a mother. The trailer shows Claire in moments of quiet reflection, her face heavy with sorrow and wonder, as if she is seeing something she cannot explain. If Faith truly returns, even as a vision, Claire's journey in Season 8 will become not just about surviving war and time, but about facing her deepest grief. This could be her final test. 2. Look her lost child in the eye and accept that while she could not save Faith, her love has always endured. Seeing Faith again could give Claire the closure she has never had, and that may be the key to her peace in the final chapter of her story. For Jamie, the impact could be just as profound, but in a different way. Jamie never truly held Faith, never. Saw her grow, and so his grief has always been a shadow in his heart. To him, Faith was a dream that ended before it began. If Faith appears in visions to Jamie, it may awaken feelings he buried long ago. Jamie has always lived with a sense of destiny, guided by moments that feel larger than life. Faith could appear to him not just as a daughter, but as a sign, a symbol that his path is reaching its end. Imagine Jamie seeing Faith as a young woman and realizing this is what could have been. That bittersweet moment would not only break him, but also remind him of the strength he and Claire found in each other after her loss. Faith's return would test Jamie's faith in destiny, in God, and in the choices that shaped his life. For Brianna, the effect is even more unique. Brianna never knew her sister, but she grew up knowing she was not the only child her parents lost. Faith was always a quiet ghost in their family history, a reminder of love and tragedy intertwined. If Brianna encounters Faith, whether through her mother's visions or her own, it could shake her understanding of family. It would remind her that she carries not only the hopes of her parents, but also the dreams of the sister who never had the chance to live. For Brianna, Faith's return could become a story of legacy, the knowledge that her life, her children, and her choices are not just her own, but part of a larger chain of love that includes the sister she never met. Together, these emotional shifts could redefine the Fraser family in the final season. Outlander has always shown that family is not just about survival, but about love that transcends time. Faith's mystery brings all of that to the surface. By reintroducing her presence, the story is reminding us that the Fraser family's strength comes not from avoiding pain, but from facing it, carrying it, and still moving forward. Faith's reappearance is not just a mystery to solve. It is the emotional storm that could push the Frasers toward their final destiny. Faith's presence in the Season 8 trailer is not only about one lost daughter, it is about what her memory means for the entire story of Outlander. This series has always been more than romance and war. It has been about time itself, about how love stretches beyond years, beyond history, and even beyond death.
Nice.
Return is a reminder that no part of the Fraser story has ever been forgotten, not even the moments that ended in silence. Faith represents the fragile line between what was and what could have been. She was the life that ended before it began, and yet her absence shaped everything that came after. Without Faith's loss, Claire and Jamie might not have become as strong as they did. Their bond was reforged through grief, and their ability to endure came from the pain of that first goodbye. Now, as the story enters its final season, Faith returns not as a child, but as a symbol of everything Outlander has stood for. That time may bend, that loss may cut deep, but love never vanishes. The larger meaning of her return is closure. Outlander is a series that has carried its characters through battles, betrayals, and heartbreak, but one loss was always left in the shadows. Faith's death was never fully faced by the family. It was a wound left open. By bringing her back, in some form, the story is giving the Frasers the chance to confront what has always haunted them. In the final season, this makes sense. Endings are not only about tying up political struggles or closing timelines, they are about facing the truths we could not face before. Faith embodies that truth for Claire and Jamie. Her return also speaks to the theme of destiny. Outlander has shown again and again that the universe has a design, one that cannot be easily escaped. Claire falling through the stones was not chance. Jamie's visions of her before they even met were not accidents. If Faith now appears, it suggests that even her short life had a purpose. She may be the key that ties together the Frasers' journey across centuries, the reminder that even the smallest life leaves ripples that never fade. And for the audience, Faith's mystery is not just about the characters. It is about us, the viewers, who have carried this story for years. We have cried with Claire, fought with Jamie, and followed Brianna into the unknown. Faith's presence reminds us that stories, like families, are built not only on victories, but also on griefs that shape us. By bringing Faith back, the show is asking us to remember where it all began and to prepare for where it must end. This is why her return feels larger than any single twist. It is not just about surprise or shock value. It is about completing the circle. Outlander began with love that seemed impossible, a love tested by time and tragedy. Faith's return closes that circle, reminding us that even those we lose remain part of our journey. In a story about time, Faith is the one reminder that love never truly leaves it behind. Every final season carries the weight of expectation. But Outlander Season 8 feels heavier than most. This is not just another chapter. It is the end of a journey that began years ago with Claire touching the stones at Cray Not Done. The return of Faith in the trailer signals that this last season will not only close political and historical storylines, but will also reach into the deepest corners of the Fraser family's hearts. It is about legacy, destiny, and the cost of love. The stakes could not be higher. On one side, the Frasers are still caught in the storm of the American Revolution. War surrounds them, and history demands sacrifices. Jamie has always walked the thin line between soldier and survivor, and Claire has always risked everything to keep her family safe in a world that was never truly her own. The trailer hints at more battles, more blood, and more impossible choices. But layered over this, chaos is Faith's presence, quiet yet powerful. As if reminding the family that their true struggle has never only been against kings or armies. Their struggle has always been against time itself. Faith's return raises the emotional stakes to match the physical danger. How can Claire focus on survival when she is haunted by the daughter she lost? How can Jamie march into war if he begins to believe his destiny is tied to a child he never held? Outlander has always forced its characters to balance love with duty. But now that balance is tilting into something even more painful. Faith is not only a memory, she is a question. What if life had been different? What if love could have saved her? What if destiny is not fixed but waiting to be rewritten? These questions could drive Claire and Jamie into decisions that alter their entire future. And then there is Brianna, standing between past and present. Her parents' grief could suddenly become her burden. And the choices she makes may decide not only her children's future, but also whether Faith's presence leads to healing or destruction. The stakes here are generational. Outlander Season 8 is not just about how the Frasers survive one more war, but about how they carry their family's legacy into the future. Faith is at the heart of that legacy. The danger is that unresolved grief can destroy as much as war. If Faith's presence leads the Frasers to hope for what cannot be changed, it could break them apart. If it leads them to finally face their loss, it could bring them peace. The entire season may balance on this question, and that is what makes Faith's return so powerful. It transforms the final season from a story of survival into a story of meaning. What is a family if not the love they carry across time?
What does death mean?
If not the choices shaped by both joy and sorrow. The stakes are not just for the characters, but for the audience. Season 8 asks us to let go, just as Claire and Jamie must. It asks us to face the end of a story we have loved for years, knowing that every goodbye is also a reminder of how much the journey mattered. Faith's return is the symbol of that truth. She is both the beginning and the end, the fragile thread that ties the entire Fraser saga together. In Season 8, the stakes are not just about who lives or dies. They are about what love leaves behind when the story is over. As the trailer for Outlander Season 8 closes, one truth becomes clear. This final chapter will not just test the Frasers against war or history, it will test them against their own past, their own grief, and their own destiny. Faith's return, hinted at in flashes of shadow and light, is not just a plot twist. It is a symbol of everything the story has carried with it since the very beginning. Love, loss, time, and fate are coming together in one last storm. And at the center of it all stands a daughter who was never supposed to return. Faith's presence asks questions no battle can answer. What do we do with the memories that never fade? How do we carry the love of those we lost into the future? Can grief turn into strength when we finally face it head on? For Claire, Jamie, and Brianna, these questions may shape not just their survival, but their legacy. For us as viewers, they remind us why Outlander has always been more than just a story about time travel. It has always been about love's ability to survive across centuries, across wars, and even across death itself. The final season promises heartbreak, but also closure. Faith's mystery could be the key that unlocks the ending the Frasers deserve. She may not return as a living daughter who walks into their arms, but as a reminder that every step of their journey has been guided by love that never dies. And, in that sense, Faith has always been part of their story, unseen, but never forgotten. Now, in the end, she is returning to claim her place. For the fans, this mystery is a gift and a challenge. It asks us to prepare for an ending that is not just about who wins or loses, but about what stories leave behind. Faith reminds us that Outlander began with a leap of faith through the stones, and now it ends with faith of another kind. Faith in love, faith in family. Faith in the idea that nothing is ever truly lost. So as we wait for the premiere of Season 8, Episode 1, the question becomes, what role will Faith play in this ending? Will she appear as a spirit, a vision, a dream, or a thread of time rewritten? Or will she be all of these at once, a living symbol of everything the Frasers have fought for? Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain. Outlander is preparing us for a farewell that will be unforgettable. And Faith's mystery may hold the final key. And now, the question passes to you. What do you think Faith's return means for the story? Do you believe she is a ghost, a vision, or a glimpse of another timeline? Or do you think her role is purely symbolic, a final way for the family to heal before the curtain falls? Share your theories in the comments below, because the discussion is just beginning, and your ideas might be closer to the truth than you think. Outlander Season 8 is not just the end of a saga. It is the closing of a circle, the final chapter. In a story about love that endures through time, and as Faith returns, we are reminded that no story truly ends. It only becomes part of the memory we carry forever.